we wanted to begin with what I think is the common denominator holding the continent back. We began building out autonomous systems to solve the security crisis in Africa. I've always been thinking, what is the best way to truly help industrialize Africa? And I've always believed that it comes down to the big three: security, energy, and food production. Our total production capacity is 30,000 drones and sentry towers annually, but right now we are only producing in the high hundreds every month. To actually give you a sense of just how much we have scaled with very little resources, Terra today has actually raised only less than $600,000. And within the 11 months we've been operating, we are currently at $1.9 million in revenue and exporting to 8 countries. Today we operate in Nigeria, Ghana, South Africa, Kenya, Congo, and other African nations. Mostly we are protecting really critical infrastructure like power plants, lithium mines, gold mines, refineries. We have $11 billion worth of assets under our protection today. The fastest growing market for us has been the power industry, with 4 power plants and several substations under protection. And the market we are hoping to get into, but not yet, has been telecoms. In a few years' time, we eventually want to have $1 trillion worth of assets under protection, which would essentially encompass all of the power, mining, and oil assets in Africa.
Let me make this very clear today, that you can hate the Igbos as much as you want. You can hate them as much as you like. But it can never change the fact that they are the future of Africa. It can never change the fact that they are the future of the black race. They are the future. In 1967 to 1970, during the Biafra Civil War, which happened to actually be the First World War, because what you were told to be the First and Second World War was not true. It was European Civil War. They had their misunderstanding, and we don't know what their problem was. We are not involved. They only tricked us. They only used us to fight their wars. Africa was not involved in their so-called First and Second World War. We were not involved. So it was European Civil War. The First World War actually occurred in Igbo land. It actually occurred in Biafra land when the world powers teamed up together to fight a little enclave. That was when we actually had the First World War. That was it. But when the British were busy supplying arms to the Nigerian state, the then Soviet Union, America, and what have you, these people were busy building their own. The Igbos, the Biafrans were busy building their guns, building their missiles, building their bombs, building Ogunigwe bomb. They built everything they used to fight that war. While the Nigerian state were dependent on the Western powers, on the world powers. They built armored tanks. They built everything. They built jet fighters. As of then, they built jet fighter. They built airport. They extracted their crude, refined it, and used it to fuel the machines they built. Such an ingenuity. At that time, when the war was still ongoing, ingenuity was born. These things were coming from the then department, chemical engineering department of Biafra University. It was formerly called Nnamdi Azikiwe University, what you have now as UNN. It was coming from the chemical engineering department. That was the Research and Invention Institute. That was where they were producing those things. And after the war, that department, the chemical engineering of UNN, was sealed till date. The chemical engineering department of UNN till date has been sealed. Why other universities has chemical engineering? That university till date still doesn't have any. Because they feared the ingenuity of an Igbo man. They feared the invention ability of an Igbo man. They are the future of the black race. They are the future of Africa. Believe it or keep living in self-deception. That is what it is. And you can't beat it. The records are there. You cannot beat it. Why not reintegrate these people? Why not bring them on the table? These your inventions, these things you were able to produce during the war, with the pressure and everything, you were able to build all these things. Come and showcase it. Let us use it to build the economy. Let us use it to build the country. Let us use it to build Africa. They didn't do that. Rather, they chose suppressing them. They chose keeping them down. They chose fighting them and propagating a wrong image to the world, to African countries, to the people out there, that the Igbos are the problem, that the Igbos has nothing to contribute to Nigeria, to the economy. They just keep pushing them. They make them feel worthless. They make the world, they make the people, gullible African people and countries, to see them as a people that has nothing to offer. Meanwhile, they are the future. They have been. Whatever invention they come up with, the state destroys it. When Ezekiel Izogo, that invented, that manufactured, that produced the first indigenous African car, is from the present-day Imo State. After inventing that car, they went and destroyed his workshop. They went and destroyed his workshop, took away the template and everything. That was how that dream of first indigenous African car was destroyed. Because he's an Igbo man. That is what happens. Those who survive are those who find their way outside the continent. That is those who survives. Those within the continent are being pressed. They push them down. They keep keeping them down. They use government policies. They use everything within their reach to make sure they don't go, they don't grow, they don't sell, they don't excel, they don't succeed. That is what we see. That is what we get. This young Igbo genius, 22 and 23, Maswell Maduka and Nathan Machuku, has built the biggest African security industry called Terra Industries. This is them doing exploits, doing the needful. It is powered by AI intelligence and drones. That is how it is. Here they manufacture hardware and softwares. That is what it takes, the ingenuity of the Igbos. Instead of going to Europe to procure hardwares, military hardwares and software drones, this is a way forward for Africa. This is a way forward for Africa. It's a welcome development for Africa. Because they give hardware, they give softwares. Now, there is a good news for Ghana. This one says Nigerian defense company Terra Industries is set to open Africa's largest drone factory in Accra, Ghana this June. The facility reportedly covers 34,000 square meters and aims to produce up to 50,000 drones and counter-drone systems annually by 2028. Instead of importing advanced drone technology, an African company is building large-scale manufacturing company on the continent itself. The project is also expected to create around 120 engineering jobs, strengthening local expertise in aerospace, defense technology, and advanced manufacturing. SAILEX, Africa is slowly moving from being a buyer of technology to becoming a builder of it. The Igbos has the secret. They have what it takes. And this is what the West fears. This is what the West are scared of. Because if this happens, their currency will devaluate. Everything that has to do with them will go down. We will stop importation. That is what we need. Because they've decided that Africa stays down in order for other continents to grow, in order for Europe to grow. Once we rise, once we grow, once we move forward, they cannot be able to function again. Because our function, their survival is based on Africa, is based on us. That is one thing we must understand. That is why in this era, our brain must be emancipated. Understand that. We must take our rightful place in history. That is who we are. They are dependent on us for their survival. They cannot operate. They cannot function without us. We are the future. The earlier we understand this, the better. I think it's time to give these people the chance. Give them the opportunity because they have the solution. They have the answer to Africa's problem. They have it. And the earlier we understand this, the better for us.